All right, we are live. How is everybody doing tonight? Thank you for joining us on the Open Debate. My name is Elder. This is a place for individuals to get together for interesting conversations, good old fashioned conversations that need to be had. I guess we just want to hear the opinions of unfiltered humans telling and speaking their minds. A place for people to get together and feel comfortable enough to have those types of conversations while expanding the thoughts within themselves. That being said, there's a few topics on the board tonight, but we don't have to stick to those. We're going to be discussing the trucker convoy. Where is it? Where did it go? What have you been hearing about that? Rona, as you know, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? And Russia, Ukraine, what's going on there? Want to know how you guys feel? If you'd like to hop into the chat, you can always hit the co-host button down below, request to join. We can get you in here, and you can give us your opinion on things. That's what it's all about. Think about back in the day when you used to have call-in talk shows where individuals would, on live access TV, call in and say what's on their mind, whether it be fun, funny, intense. It's whatever it is. It's whatever comes in. You never know who's going to be speaking, so feel free to pop in if you'd like to have your voice heard. My name's Elder. This is the Open Debate. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can always hit up the PayPal at Open the Debate. But being here and speaking your mind in the chat is just beautiful. I appreciate you all being here. So that being said, we will let some people hop into the chat, and if they would like to speak their mind, you can always hit the co-host button, request to join, and I'll pop you in. We'll get going here as soon as somebody would like to come in and start the conversation with me. But we're going to be speaking about whatever's going on. Trucker convoy, where are they? Where did they go? The good old Rona situation that we've been in for quite a while. How are you feeling about it? What are your thoughts around everything that's happening? And same with Russia, Ukraine. All sensitive topics that are on everybody's minds, but we do not need to stick to those. We can speak about anything that you would like. So with that being said, if you want to hop into the chat, make sure you hit the co-host button. It should be down there below. And make sure you have your voice heard. Thank you for the roses there. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you all being here. And we're going to have a good show, as always, this evening. Monday through Friday, 9 p.m., daily live streams, usually on the weekend as well. But yeah, we'll get going as soon as somebody would like to hop in and have their voice heard. It's all about you. This is not me spouting off my opinion. There are enough podcasts out there where you hear what other people have to say. If you would like to, oh, it says multi-guest now, not co-host. I see. Things are changing. Well, hit the multi-guest button and make sure that you request to join. You can come on in, and I will get you in the chat. I'll have to change that little button up there in the way that it looks. It's been an interesting time on TikTok. Lots of changes lately. Updates every other day. Co-host, multi-guest. It may depend on the version of TikTok that you are running on your phone at the moment. They are always all over the place. But regardless, hit one of the purple buttons, purple and blue buttons at the bottom. Request to join if you'd like to hop into the conversation, and we will get you in here very quickly. Yes. Anybody who would like to come in, speak about any of these three topics, as well as anything that's on your mind, the floor is open. We are here for you to speak about whatever you would like. Yes, TikTok has multiple personalities these days. It is a very interesting place to be. If you'd like to come on and talk about anything that's going on inside your head, this is the place to do it. This is the place to be. Friday night discussions. We are going to have a few people come in and tell us what is going on with them.
Hello.
Hey there, Nono. How's it going? Thanks for joining us on the Open Debate.
Yep. How are you guys
How are you
doing?
doing tonight?
Or how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Oh, just thinking about a lot of stuff. I think a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, I was just thinking about how the news talks and how they like to take what you say and twist up what you say. I was just watching about this governor in Florida and just a little interaction that he had with some kids not wear their masks because it was just he called it COVID theater. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Hmm.
And it was almost like the newscast people talk directly to them as though they're playing some sort of game, and they have
Yeah.
rules that they have to live by. It's very strange.
Yeah, it seems a little bit disingenuous when you hear them speaking on the news, trying to give. It's almost as though they have a script that they're sticking to, and they don't speak from the heart. They really continue to push one narrative, and it doesn't seem like they're always speaking with genuine emotion, at least in my opinion.
Oh yeah, like it's kind of mixed where it's like they have a a, a storyline, but then in their storyline, it's like they get serious and they'll like talk really serious and they'll be like, and you just don't want to play by the rules of the game, so stop being a little whatever and whatever. I'm like, oh my goodness, this stuff is crazy. And this is the stuff that
Hmm.
my grandma used to watch to like know what she was supposed to be knowing in society. And I'm just thinking, no wonder why we fell asleep.
Yeah, when the majority of individuals, like you said, have continuously used this outlet as their source of information. It's the
Yeah,
only place
because
that you can get
well,
it.
you're dealing like especially with the older generation. My grandma, she I think I think she completed 3rd grade. And so you're dealing with individuals on that don't really have a lot of education, that lived within a time frame where you worked real hard and you went to bed. So um, they kind of needed that support, and we're just kind of abusing it now.
Yeah, I agree. Just be careful of your mic. I think it might be clicking a little bit there, but you sound good other than that. I'm gonna bring Zach in here,
Oh,
capital Zach, and to join the conversation. We can all speak together.
okay.
Hey there,
Hi.
Zach. Thanks for joining us on the open debate. How you doing tonight?
Good, good, good. How are you?
Feeling good.
Good.
How are you feeling?
Hello. No, no. Yeah, just truckers convoy. There's actual. They were having protest every single day until March 5th, which is tomorrow. So they're having a protest in Ottawa at the same location or somewhat there. I guess the police coordinated and like blocked off some places, but there is a protest at the same location tomorrow.
And
I'm
I
gonna go
did
ahead
see
and
that.
pop
I
off.
did see. Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, oh, come on back in, Zach. Hit the multi guest button. I'm not too sure what happened there, but I'll bring you back in. Um, and also I'll get you in the chat in just a second here if Zach doesn't pop in, and then we will also keep the conversation going. Anybody else who wants to pop in, make sure you hit the multi guest button, and we will make sure that we keep bringing people in to speak their mind around what they feel and how they have been thinking about the world around them for the past little bit here. But yeah, I would love to hear the opinions around the trucker convoy, Rona, Russia, Ukraine, or anything else that's been on your mind lately. Um, like Zach was just saying there is apparently another protest tomorrow in Ottawa, in the same location, right in front of Parliament Hill. I have seen a few, well, actually, I've only seen one post about that. There hasn't been much hype, and that's one of the questions that I'm wondering. Has anybody seen any information about what's going on? Where did it all go? Where did all the I guess we could call hype behind the situation go, and why is nobody talking? Why is the mainstream media not speaking about anything? I know that there are larger issues going on, but news is news, relevant to each individual place. So I just wonder what's happening and what you all think. Hey there,
Hello.
Antic. Thanks for joining us on the open debate. How you doing tonight?
Good, and yourself?
Not too bad.
So the trucker convoy, they actually have a camp outside of Ottawa with about 1,500 people in it. And if you go onto Facebook and follow the Big Bear Convoy to Ottawa movement, he started a freedom movement separate from the convoy, but piggybacking off of it and carrying it on. And a bunch of the people from the convoy are involved. So they keep going out to Parliament and protesting pretty much like almost every day that they can.
Okay. Have you been following them at all?
Yeah, so I follow Big Bear and quite a few other people like Rooster and stuff, and they're actually trying to get up a second wave to go out there and continue. So
Okay. What all have you seen from like what's going on? Because it's interesting to see that there isn't as much information being spread around. It's not being as propped up as it was. Yet there are still grievances that are being had from individuals, and it's just an interesting time, especially when the news cycles so quickly change, and when you have a narrative that the world wants you to be focused on what
yeah.
is truly happening in the places that you live, right?
Yeah, so I follow that one Big Bear movement as well as I'm on Telegram. I'm an admin in the Global Freedom Movement chat, and
Okay.
we have over 20,000 active members daily posting. So we get a mixture of the Canadian convoy as well as the American convoy, and their convoy in the States is 10 miles long, just hit Illinois the other day. So like it's still going and it's still happening. It's just not getting front page news, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because they're not able to name call. So information came out today about the GoFundMe saying 86% of donators were from Canadian citizens. The rest were from American. There was no terrorism donations, no criminal donations, no foreign interference, nothing. And all CTV did was give a little blurb saying that they updated and corrected their information, not telling you that we're not terrorists, not telling you that we're not racist and misogynists, that we're Canadian citizens that are just upset. And if you go into the comments on those, I hate to label people, but the left wing people are like, oh, it's irrelevant now that Ukraine's happening. They literally can't even acknowledge that they were wrong. So we're
Yeah.
not getting the media portion of it, but we're keeping a solid movement of free thinkers and freedom lovers and just people that want love in Canada in general. I feel is the main point of this movement. Let's be Canadian again.
So, someone asked, it's a good question. What would they type in, or where would they go to find the CBC update? Like, where did you see that?
Oh, I found that one on Twitter. I would probably just go to their website as much as I would hate to give them the views and, stuff like that. But yeah, they updated it as well as Russell Brand. If you follow him, he has an amazing podcast, but he did an update actually telling you that it was the Canadian finance minister, the person in charge of foreign interference, terrorism and money laundering in Canada. He's the one that did the audit of the GoFundMe and stated 86% were from everyday Canadians. You could probably just Google him, just Google FinTrack, FINTRAC, and that's the Canadian financial administrator, like
Okay.
on the federal level.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's because it's good for people to be able to go and find that sort of information, especially when they don't make a big statement around retracting things. That's often the way it goes. They will make large claims, and then if they turn out to be wrong, they'll make small retractions and not promote
Yeah,
that, so that people are left to
just
yeah.
assume. Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I've been looking into it all day today, and people have been saying, "Oh, Canada's not corrupt. There's no corruption in Canada." So I went and delved into that a bit and found something called the Paradise Papers, which were published in 2014. 2.6 terabytes of documentation proving corruption in politicians, elites, celebrities, financial advisors, etc. And Justin Trudeau was named in the documents from back in 2014. So he was corrupt before he was ever even into politics. And people just don't realize the depth that it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of corruption that we find within the system that we're working with here. When it comes to the trucker movement in the United States and the continued trucker movement here in Canada, because you said that you are on the Telegram and you
Yeah.
are consuming more information than other people at this point in time. So what would you consider the future of that movement to be, and where do you see things going?
Well, with the uncertainty of everything that's happening in the, I want to say, the mainstream bubble of people, it's not gotten any easier, but we're not stopping. I do see it pushing forward because it's no longer even called the Freedom Convoy. It's called the People's Freedom Movement. So it encompasses everyone more inclusively, and I feel like that's even better. It's going to bring more people in. And the fact that Big Bear is Indigenous and he has this massive community of Indigenous people following him, and he's opening their eyes and opening ours to a lot of the connected issues that we share and have grievances towards the government about. I think it's really bringing people together, and there's always a need for that. So the future of the movement is only growing. It just really, we really need to open the hearts of the people. Like, again, I hate to label, but on the left, on this mainstream media bubble, we really need to figure out how to open their minds and their hearts to just, if not side with us, but move forward and accept us, accept that we want this. We want freedom or freedom, as they call it. I don't get that, but
Well, with that being said, what exactly would you consider the movement to be fighting for? Like, what would the main goals of this, at least this new convoy that Big Bear has orchestrated?
so it's still the exact same thing. It's essentially just freedom for the right for you to choose if you want to be vaccinated. We still don't care if you wear or don't wear a mask, if you want to get the vaccine or don't. None of that matters. That's all subject to opinion at this point because the facts, the data, everything's still coming out. So the movement is still based on just giving everyday Canadians back their freedom of bodily autonomy. Because like I'm personally unvaccinated, my boyfriend is double vaccinated. It is a choice, and everyone should have the right to make that. And that's kind of the main stance that we all hold, is just that you have the right to choose what you put in your body. And I think that is able to carry a lot because it gives everybody their independent right to choose their own individual freedom, sovereignty, whatever you want to call it. It's and love. Like, he really pushes positivity and love in every single one of his videos, which is, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's really heartwarming to see somebody just absolutely positive, and I think the world needs more of that too. So
Yeah. How do you think that this became such a political issue, in your opinion?
I don't know when it happened, but at some point over the past 4 years, people really started to make politics their personality and not just an opinion or a view. Like now, when you speak to someone, it's almost as if that's the first thing they bring up, and they determine and base their perceived perception of you based on your political view, which is, it shouldn't be like that. So the reason it got politicized is because everything gets politicized. Anybody that doesn't like something just automatically labels it what they don't like. And right now, with politics being such a hot topic and a trendy thing, which I also don't get, people will just name call instantly. If you're, on the right, you say the left is this, the left is that. If you're on the left, you say the right is this, the right is that. It's like a defense mechanism, not even necessarily that it's politics related. You could watch a video of a duck doing something stupid and be like, that's a liberal or that's a conservative. It happens on both sides. So I don't think this is a political issue in that sense. It is a political issue in the sense of our Bill of Rights and, you know, our freedoms.
Yeah. It sounds as though society itself at this moment has more of an issue with making things political because,
Yeah.
in my opinion, each individual holds their worldview as like their political position is such a large part of what makes them who they are that if you have a different opinion, then it's as though you're attacking their personality and they're literally them personally. It's not about any ideas, it's about who they are.
Yeah, it's really frustrating and sad to see that people have just propped themselves up on this political type personality. Like it's not a personality trait. And if it is, it's not a good one because it's dividing people more than ever.
Hmm. And that's the thing. I think people are more like that's why we're called individuals. Individual people are more complex than group classifications, and so when you just lump people into those major groups, or use classifications or group politics to subject individuals into boxes, it rarely
Yeah.
turns out that those are actually the values that they hold. Whether you're left or right, you probably don't hold all of the values that the individual is pushing onto you.
No, absolutely. And I don't know how we got to this point. I would really be curious to look into that, but I don't see a way out of this right now, like the political personality type, only because it's being thrusted on us through, societal pressure on a daily basis. There, at some point in the next couple of years, I hope there's a shift. And how people grow every day, we learn new things, and we become new people with the knowledge that we gain. So I'm really hoping we can shift out of this bubble that we're in, but right
Well, I
now,
think
yeah, it's
that
real hard.
I think one thing that can help is having conversations like this that I like to have here on the channel. When we get more people in that have different opinions, it's good even when doesn't matter who you are. If you come in and you speak your opinion, hearing what people believe and why they believe it helps you understand what's going on with the people that you interact with in the world. So, like we said, you can feel as though each individual person who wants everyone to get vaccinated believes this, but until you hear from different groups of people who truly do believe those things, you won't actually know what they believe. And so the same with people who believe, oh, if you like Trump, then you must believe all this stuff. Well, I assume that most people who like Trump have a multitude of different beliefs. It's not just
Yeah.
black and white. And so hearing the real stories from unfiltered humans is a very good way to get a perspective of what people are really thinking around you.
Yeah. Well, and like I'm from Canada, so the Trump thing to me didn't mean anything, but I can honestly say that through my experiences in life, watching everyone turn on someone, like I've seen it in groups of friends when I was younger in high school. y- y- One person would not like another person, so they would start a rumor and turn the whole group against this one person. years, months later, you'd find out that it was, you'd speak to them, see them, find out it was all a fucking lie, and that it was just rumors and nonsense because they didn't like them. So when I seen that happening to Trump, I looked into the guy. And in all honesty, like, he's a dick. He's done some shitty things. He's not the best guy, but he wasn't what they were saying he was. He wasn't a racist. He wasn't that. I never found any actual full footage of him saying the things that they said he said. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, so the media is definitely playing sides. And as it went forward, I continued to watch that one-sided story. And I've always known there's two sides to every story. So just like right now with the convoy, with Ukraine, with Corona, with whatever it is, there is two sides to every story. And you have to be open to listening. Otherwise, there's no possibility of moving forward as one species, as like as humans, and connecting on another level if we can't even speak to each other. And we're definitely at that point. So I've been enjoying watching your lives and everything, because I'm getting to see both sides, and you're very subjective, you're very open and inquisitive. So
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I have meme shorts here. Don't know if it's going to be a troll or not, but I'll bring him into the conversation. He can join us.
Yep.
Just by the name Meme Shorts. Hey there, Memes. How you doing? Thanks for joining us on the Open Debate.
I'm very awesome, man. I'm also from Canada.
Nice.
I got
Nice.
3 words. All right. Orange man rad. That guy was a fucking maverick, a straight shooter. He's the type of guy to tell you what he's thinking. You know what I mean?
He
Joe
was,
Biden.
yeah.
Joe Biden's not gonna tell you what he's thinking. Joe Biden don't know what the fuck he's thinking, okay?
I don't think a lot of politicians know what they're thinking, but Trump definitely did. He told you whether you wanted to hear it or not, which I respected.
He's through strength with Donald Trump. All right. These people like Vladimir Putin, the Taliban, all of them, all our enemies, Iran, they all fear Donald Trump. Like Putin was buddies with Soleimani, right? He saw what Trump did to Soleimani. He said, hey, man, I'm not invading the Ukraine and end up like that guy. Are you nuts? They didn't know what Donald Trump was going to do. And same with the lefties. Like a lot of the TBS comes from that mentality. They were just,
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I support Trump and all in certain ways, not every aspect, but which I found out recently, which again opens my mind to new perceptions of the guy, is did you know that he was bombing Yemen and Somalia while he was in office? Or because Biden bombed them the same day that
he
Russia
didn't
attacked
bomb them.
you. Yes, he did actually. You can
Saudi
go look.
Arabia bombed them.
No, so
He
you got to
sold
go
them the
look it up.
weapons.
You got to go
Yeah.
look it up. It's fact. He dropped 5 bombs on Yemen.
I know he
And
bombed Syria, and I was against
yeah,
that when he did that.
exactly. So you can't say
Yeah.
like he was awesome, he was this, he was that, because he had
No,
his
he
faults,
was.
just like
I can't.
every
He has his
person.
faults. Like, yeah, of course, he has his flaws.
Yeah,
But his
everyone
foreign
makes mistakes,
policy,
and
I'll give you an
he made some
example,
big
right?
ones. He did
Yeah,
though.
for
He
sure.
made some big mistakes. So we can't, like, oh, praise. He's not.
Oh,
I
I can.
He's not perfect, but yeah, like
He's not
he did
perfect.
better. And he's
Like,
definitely
he was-
he did better than Biden.
he
Biden's
did
a whole
better than
nother
anybody
story.
in my lifetime. He's the best president in my
But
lifetime, hands
in
down.
Canada, we don't even right now have a democratic system. We have a Westminster parliamentary system. So
Yep.
if you follow our, government back, we've been corrupt since frickin' Bush. Canada's deep, deep in the gutter of
Oh yeah.
criminal, activity. So
The-
I
the-
mean,
I agree.
world
Canada's.
economic
I want to say this about Trump and the differences between, like, how some people do really praise Trump and think that he is the greatest president that has ever been and the greatest guy in the world. Then there are other people who completely hate every single thing that he does. Then there are some
Yeah.
people who look at some things and say, yeah, some's okay, some's not bad. But
Yeah.
I think that division also comes from the way that the media portrayed him. So there's one side of the media that absolutely every single thing that he did was terrible and they
Yeah.
didn't focus on anything, and so like any sort of accomplishment. And so when you start looking into it, you're like, oh wait, he actually did do things. And then you
Yeah.
start realizing, well, maybe I've been completely wrong. Well, it's like, I don't know, there's truth to both sides, but it's like, a
Yeah.
guy goes outside and I don't know, like kicks a worm, and all of a sudden now he's like this terrible influence to environmental hazards and all this crazy stuff. And it's like, okay, man, he just stepped on a worm outside. He was
That's-
not.
Yeah. It's the
Do you guys-
cancel culture attack.
Do you guys remember what Barack Obama said on January 17th, like 2020, as he's leaving the White House at noon? The press asked him what Donald Trump's number one concern would be. Do you guys remember what he said?
No.
Like as president, he said his number one concern wasn't Russia or China or Iran. It was North Korea. That's what
Yeah.
he said. He should be most concerned about North Korea. And look what happened with North Korea. Right?
Yeah.
Like less than a year. Like sure, he was firing missiles for a little bit, but then Trump started that Twitter war with the guy, and he totally
Twitter, that
changed it. He did what presidents did and failed to do for like 70 years. He did it
Yeah.
in like 6 months. Not a lick of credit. Not like
Nope.
one. You
Well,
know?
and he also did
Did a lot of
he
good
made-
things.
he
man. A
made
lot of-
Israel the capital, which every president prior to him had said that they would, but none of them did. And I'm not
Yeah.
100% on all of the history of that situation. Honestly, I don't know that much. But I know every president prior had been saying they would, and he actually did it. So I found that
Like
pretty shocking.
they slur him as a white supremacist. Like I've never heard of a white supremacist who moves the embassy to Jerusalem. Like
Yeah,
that's the
like,
exact
yeah.
opposite of what a white supremacist would do. You know? It's like
That's
I don't know.
to
I
me,
really
that's
like
a
the guy
funny
and I
word now.
appreciate what he did because he didn't have to do what he did. He could have sat, he could play golf, like, did that, whatever he wanted to. He didn't
Yeah.
have to go do this. And he knew his life was never going to be the same. And they're still, to this day,
Because yeah, I was just gonna say, because this channel is about understanding what's going on. We clearly all have a nuanced opinion on Trump. I don't know if anyone still in the chat really hates Trump. There were a few people that adamantly hated him, and everybody out there has their own opinion. So the question is, why have you, like, what has brought you to these conclusions? Why do you think that like, obviously you just said you don't think he's a white supremacist because he moved the capital to Israel, but along with other things, what has made you believe that what the media has said have been complete falsehoods and straight lies? And just what has brought you to this conclusion? Because other people have a completely different view of reality and believe that he is the worst person. And so why don't you believe that? Now
I don't know.
I'll start with Antic, and then we'll go to memes.
Yeah, so I kind of like to actually delve into things when I get into that mood. So a lot of the videos and stuff, like we see clips, we see little, blurps and excerpts and momentary, and then quotes. Like they'll be like, "Oh, he said this," and I'm always like, "Well, where, when, what was the context? Context is everything." So I looked into those things just out of pure curiosity, and 9 times out of 10, it was just taken way out of context. It was twisted. It was whatever. Like, I'll give you an example with the grab her by the pussy thing. The way that I took that as a woman, I was like, oh, locker room talk. And some women might get mad, but I want to be honest. And we talk just as bad, if not worse, about men behind their backs than men do about women. Just being honest. The things that we used to say to drive-through customers in McDonald's when I worked there when I was like a teenager. We number them as meals. Like it is not a one-sided conversation here. It is not, oh, we're fucking perfect and men are disgusting and everything that they say and do is misogynist against women. That is fucking bullshit, because I have literally looked at people just walking down the street when I was younger and eyed them up from cock to face. No other direction. It was just like, oh, move along. We are just as bad. We are just as bad. And if you can admit that to yourself, if you can be honest and admit that to yourself, that conversation was locker room talk, and I fucking laughed. It made me laugh. Do I approve of it, like that behavior? No. But you can say whatever the fuck you want. Your actions prove what kind of person you are. And he didn't do that. He just said it. So I was like, okay, let's move on to the next. And as it went, I just knocked him down, and it just changed my view. Just every video, every, little clip, I went and watched the full take, and I just continued to change my view. And then, finding out new information, like him opening up essentially he made it easier for colleges to be pay colleges, and he opened it up as a business. So like the degree that you go and pay for, you won't actually get a job with, because they're just pay colleges. They're just basic education colleges. And that pissed me off. So that made me not like him at the same time. Like I had that fighting inside myself, like, oh, he does this, but he does that too. So
Well,
Yeah.
he's not a great guy. He's not a perfect guy, but he's not what they said he was. And that's a big distinction.
So
Okay.
for me,
Yeah.
I've always been a bit of a lefty. Like back in the day, 10 years ago, I was actually a Bernie Sanders supporter. I was
Oh, wow.
anti-war. Started with Bush. I was anti-war, and then when Obama got elected, I had a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and right away he showed his true colors. He backtracked on the GMOs, right? And
Yeah.
when he started all the wars, he started wars in Libya, Syria, Yemen, like more than Bush, this guy. And when I showed up to protest, there was no Democrats, right? So I liked in 2015 when the election was happening, I liked Bernie Sanders initially because I liked his record on war. He never voted for a war, Bernie Sanders, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But then that beach house, Bernie Sanders got screwed royally, man, by Hillary Clinton, and he got that beach house, and even his own supporters, man, tried to sue the DNC, and they tried to fight for Bernie, and he wasn't even willing to fight for himself. So right there, I wanted Trump, because I was against Hillary Clinton, but I was scared shitless, man. But as soon as he got in, his policy just changed my mind, man. I was scared like
Oh,
everybody, but his policy was a breath of fresh air, especially if you're anti-war, because that's all
yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when Democrats, that's all they ever cared about was an end to
Yeah.
the wars, right?
Their roots were, it was like not originally, but around the 60s they were. Yeah.
Yeah. Even when I was growing up in the 2000s, like I was 18, I think, when 9/11 happened. So I was
Yeah.
like right at that age, where you start getting involved, and
Yeah.
and now then I seen Obama, and fucking that guy, man, he was bad. He was a war criminal, man. He should be bombing Doctors Without Borders hospitals. Like I dated a Syrian girl who like immigrated to Canada from Syria, and she woke me up to a lot of the stuff that was like going on in Syria.
Wow.
Like he was funding ISIS, like we were
Yeah.
too, NATO.
We currently still are, Canada and America.
The
Yeah.
ones who were left over that Trump didn't get, he did a good job with that, man. He turned it around in Syria.
We need someone
That's
to
like,
clean the swamp out here in Canada.
but yeah, we do. We should get Trump up for 2 years, man. He's on sabbatical.
That would never work.
How about Don Cherry? There,
Oh, that would be cool.
he'd be a good one. I like Pierre. I
So
like Pierre.
with the yeah, with the amount of propaganda that you'd witnessed throughout that administration and just throughout the time that you've been focusing on the media in general and being able to discern information for yourself, how do you feel about what we're witnessing right now with Russia and Ukraine?
Oh, you can't believe anything. You
Yeah.
cannot believe anything. And we should be. How do I feel? Is everybody, the left, everybody is and the right are beating the war drums.
Both
And
sides.
we got to
Both
stay
sides.
out of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we got to like just. I know it sounds cruel and everything. It's terrible what's happening. I feel for the people of the Ukraine. I feel for them, 100%. But we got our own problems, man. We shouldn't be. Why are we right in Russia's doorstep? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like look at the Cuban missile crisis. You know what I mean? Was America justified? I think they were. America, like like threatening Russia because get your missiles out of here. It's basically what's happening in the Ukraine. NATO's right on Russia's border. Like why the hell?
Well, and
Why
it's
are
more
we
than
there?
that. It's more than that. So if you actually look deeper into it, I have the release documents from the Russian embassy showing, stating that we in Canada, we actually trained the soldiers that went and overthrew the Ukrainian president that had been
I
elected
believe that.
and
Yeah.
took over their government. We trained the neo-Nazi group that did that, that's in control right now. So this goes back way before any of us were born. This is a long withstanding, I want to say, collusion of, government
Well,
officials.
that
It's
happened in
not.
2014. That
Yeah.
happened. What you're
So right
talking about?
now,
That was
though,
2014.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, there's a long history of, corruption going between our two countries. And right
Yeah,
now,
but
with everything that's going on, I'm seeing both sides and I'm trying to figure it out. And in all honesty, like, Putin's a piece of shit, but I stand with what he's doing. And he's
I
trying to
understand it.
rid the corruption of Ukraine and get rid of the illegally overthrown government that's been attacking Russians in Crimea. Like I said, he's a piece of shit. None of our leaders are really have clean hands or anything in this, but I stand with the people of Russia and Ukraine. I don't stand with either of their governments. This is bullshit on both sides,
I agree.
including our government. We should not be getting involved in this whatsoever. But it distracts people from all the Pfizer documents that have been coming out, all the
Exactly.
truth about COVID, all the truth about the propaganda. There's like how we're all noticing the lies and everything.
They're gonna get
It's
away
all,
with it. They're
yeah,
gonna get
like
away with it.
they might, but a lot of the stuff with Ukraine has already been debunked. Like a lot of the videos and pictures, the warplanes flying over was from a video game. The Ghost
I heard
Flyer,
about that. I heard about
yeah,
that.
the
Well,
Ghost
can you
Flyer that took
explain
out
that?
7 jets. So that was actually okay. So sorry, the planes that flew over Ukraine were from an air show. It was like sort of like how we do our military air shows out here. It was a military air show out there. The fighter jet that had the guy named Ghost in it, or whatever they wanted to call him, that's actually from a video game. It was proven to be from a video game made in like 2018 or 2019 or something. The Russian tank that drove over the old man
Car?
in the vehicle
Yeah.
was actually a Ukrainian tank who got separated from his group and lost control. I said that the second I watched it. I was like, that tank lost control. Like, that was not on purpose at all. And it was a fucking Ukrainian tank. And that footage was also old. Like, so, and then the footage of Zelensky being on the front lines in the battlegrounds was actually from like a 2019 excerpt of a 2014 picture of him on the front lines,
Wow.
checking out his soldiers' gear and stuff like that. So, and that's not, I'm not just saying this. You can go look it up on
But he
Reuters
wasn't
or
prime
whatever
minister.
on Twitter.
He wasn't the president then. 2014.
Yeah,
He didn't come until 2018.
yeah.
Zelensky.
I don't know where.
But he was but he was a figure. He was a celebrity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was
So
like on
I don't
TV
know
and stuff.
exactly. I didn't read the full article, but
But
if you
yeah, I
go
see what
onto
you're saying.
Reuters, everything is there. They're just debunking every single video and show and every single picture. The picture of the old lady that was bombed was actually from a gas explosion. The two
Mm.
little kids watching the tank drive off was actually from, so those two little kids were watching the tank drive off were actually from it was like when the neo-Nazis took over Ukraine and they were watching their neo-Nazi father go take over the Ukrainian government. So
It's kind of weird
there,
too. Like I don't know what's going on in America with the mandates. Like do they still have a mandate on the military? Like I know a bunch of military members lost their positions, right?
yeah, I don't know in all honesty if they do, but
Man,
I know
probably
there's
feeling
a
pretty
video of
good if there's a
some,
draft, right? Like
well,
you know, all the
that's, yeah.
unvaccinated people get out of the draft.
Well, that's, we can't travel. I can't
Yeah.
travel. I'm vaccinated. You can't
Uh,
send me to war. I can't get on a plane
and
legally.
they just actually passed, I think it was in the NDAA, they passed women are now eligible for the draft. Democrats voted on that, you know?
Yeah. No, and you know
So
what?
like it's all
Equal
set.
rights. Equal rights, man. I'm not a feminist, but if you want that shit, you fucking deserve it. You asked for equal rights. There you go. Now we're fucked. We got to go fight too. It's like I would rather stay home and cook and clean, but thanks. I got to go to war.
Yeah. That's like
So
I've
there's
had
somebody
that
in the
argument.
chat. I'm just gonna say there's somebody in the chat that just disagrees, and it sucks because I can see that they don't have enough followers to join in and actually have the conversation live here with us. And I'm trying to
Hate
figure
that.
out working. Yeah, I'm trying to work around like maybe creating a Discord or something, but I'm just trying to still work out how I'll figure it into the live stream so that people can call in no matter what the subscriber count or whatever follower
Get
count is.
Oh yeah.
Because
do you have Getter? GTTR?
No, you mean like
yeah,
Skype or something?
You can live
yeah.
stream now on Getter. But actually you can't do like this though. Yeah.
True, yeah.
Skype.
Yeah,
Skype.
right.
Anyway, though, I'm gonna bounce you guys. I gotta go take some medicine here. That's the
Well,
one good
thank you
thing
for
Trudeau
joining
did.
us. Thank you
All
for joining
right.
us on the open debate tonight.
All right, man. You guys have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, if anybody else would like to join in, you can always hit the multi-guest button, join us for the conversation. If you'd like to talk about anything on the board or anything else that's inside your head, the floor is open. We're just having a good conversation here. It's hard to get people that disagree to come in, and oftentimes when people do disagree, I've noticed that the follower count is very low. It's not that on TikTok there aren't individuals with higher follower counts that do have opposite opinions, but perhaps the content doesn't get pushed out to those people. And
Yeah.
these are just individuals. I don't know. I'm not going to make any claims, but it's an interesting scenario that even it doesn't matter what platform you're on. It's really hard to break through that echo chamber and have your content pushed to individuals who would not necessarily agree with it.
Yeah. That's how they build the algorithms. I'm into computer science and stuff like that. They specifically build it to keep us in our own bubbles.
Yeah. 100%. And like even it's really strange. I've never talked about like LGBT stuff or anything on this channel. And then last night we had a conversation about it, and the background had it in it, and I was speaking about it, but obviously I didn't write anything down or anything. And then today I had so many videos from just like LGBT creators on my page.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
very
I
interesting.
do follow quite a few lesbian TikTokers and stuff like that. My sister is lesbian, so I know all about the community. It's definitely different because she has changed over the past 5 years. She went from just normal everyday my sister to, like, I don't want to say extremist, but like one of those gender feminist, transgender extremists. And I had to kind of stop talking to her. I told her, I was like, you know what, I love you, but you're calling me a homophobe and a racist because I don't agree with you, and that's fucked up.
Well, that ties back into how we were talking about how politics intertwine with ideologies and the way that you view your world beliefs. And if somebody's attacking those
Yeah,
ideas, then they're personally attacking you.
yeah, I really don't understand that aspect of people.
Yeah. I got Politics Max coming in to join us for the conversation here. Politics, thanks for joining us. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, hi, I've been on your live before. I'd just like to say thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks for
for
being here.
coming.
Yeah, hi, I'd just like to say, obviously, I literally just tuned in, and from what I heard, obviously, I feel bad for your sister. She's probably been told or manipulated or been in some way told by someone that obviously what's going on, from what I've heard, that this is happening and what's happening to her, because this is what happens in the UK as well. Is we see a vast majority of young girls who are turning into these things that they actually aren't, and this is why it's
Yeah,
bad for children to go on hormone blockers, and I think that it should be for adults, because
yeah.
children don't know what to do. Children don't know, they don't know whether they are a girl or a boy at 5. They don't they But when I was 5, all I cared about was playing with my toys. I didn't care about whether I was misgendered by some random person on the street. You know,
That's very true. When I was 5, all I cared about was playing with my toys.
yeah, yeah. It's like, and then you force it, and then obviously, like, let's say a boy likes pink, right? For example, it doesn't mean that they're transgender, or if they like a Barbie doll, that doesn't mean
No.
that they're transgender, or they think that they're a girl. It means that they obviously they may be a bit more feminine. I mean, Jordan B.
Yeah,
Peterson has said so many times that he's a very feminine man, and he said that it doesn't mean that he should go to the extremes to be transgender. And obviously, I do think that these things can happen to people. Gender dysphoria is a real thing,
yeah,
but
it is.
it's being overused by so many people, and it's ridiculous.
It's trendy now almost. It's
Yeah,
very strange. Yeah. I actually had to
the
break it
trend.
down to one of my friends that she wasn't asexual. I was like, no, you just literally like to dress different depending on the day. That doesn't change your gender. Like, I'm a tomboy. Some days I dress a little girly. It doesn't mean I'm a different gender, or I have to make something up to label myself. And
Yeah,
people are getting really caught up in this, and she definitely did. Like, she even, like, accused me of trying to kill her mom because I wouldn't get vaccinated. And I was like, well, I don't even live in the same province as you. So, and she's like, oh, well, you can never come over. And her personality changed to this politicized version of, I don't even know.
I'm sorry to
And is
hear that.
she
I
in
feel bad
college
for
or
you.
university right now? Yeah, I'm sorry to hear it as well.
No,
But is she in?
no, she's not. She's actually 30 something. I got 3
Hmm.
sisters. Sorry. She's like, no, she's 42. She's an older one. She's, yeah, because Amber, yeah, she's 42. But she
Oh,
likes to watch all that BuzzFeed stuff on YouTube. And I've found, like, I tried watching it, but it was very, like, very politicized catchphrase, in your face type propaganda. And it was catchy, but it definitely, I could see where she was getting it from.
hmm.
And
Yeah,
then,
another thing. Go on, go on.
oh no, it's okay.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is, if you look at BuzzFeed, they peaked in about 2016, but then
Yeah,
after 2016, because they were actually making it's a bit like Vice. Vice was making real news, and same was so was BuzzFeed. Then after that, they sort of joined. They sort of became more like progressive, and they
yeah,
then
progressive.
started like I think what's it called BuzzFeed, they posted a video saying, what's it like for men to be the same gender as Donald Trump, and why do men manspread it as it's
Yeah, the man
sexist?
spreading one, I watched
Are
that. That
awful,
kind of,
awful.
yeah, that was messed up.
That
I'm
was
a
messed up.
woman and I sit with my legs open because it's comfy. Like,
Yeah,
take a hike. But
yeah.
no,
Genuinely, it's comfy. It's comfortable. I mean,
it
you know,
is way more comfy. But and then,
I
like
think
she watches the news just like everyone, so
Yeah, I think that a large issue in I don't want to say the LGBT community, but more the activist community, the progressive
yeah.
community. Um, a lot of the issues I think stem from the fact that a lot of issues either have been addressed or are currently being addressed, and individuals, whether you're on the left or the right, don't disregard that they are there, whether or not they agree with them or not. They're
Yeah.
still able to accept that these are real world things. And so the problems that have been created um, at this point seem almost ridiculous, like manspreading or mansplaining. When you're making words up like that in order to just demonize a group of people,
Yeah.
that isn't something that you're working towards. Like that's you're reaching at this point. I don't know. The majority of people can see that that's not a cause that I'm going to get behind, but
Yeah.
there
They're
are
hating because
actual
it's trendy.
grievances.
It's
Yeah,
like
there
it's
are still grievances that
trendy.
could be held, but I think that a lot of things have been pushed very far, and it's just yeah, little things like that, very very trendy. The buzzwords that are used, it's a
Yeah.
very we already discussed the fact that when you hold an ideology, especially if it's part of your personality, and then people attack those ideas, they're not just attacking the ideas, they're attacking you as a person. And so when you
Yeah.
have that being promoted to you in such a way that BuzzFeed or Vice News, other mainstream outlets like that do, they create a community of individuals that if you do disagree then with anything that's going on, then there's an entire classification of those individuals that are adamantly opposed and
They
are almost looking
automatically
to
throw
harm you.
you. Yeah, if you disagree, they automatically throw you in the opposing category. You're automatically an enemy. And
yeah,
I do see that I do see that as like the new progressive theme that they definitely group think. And if you oppose in any way, shape, or form, you are the worst person on the planet. You're racist, you're a misogynist, you're a rapist, you're a this, you're an XA, every letter of the alphabet, you're all of them.
it's
And
fear mongering. It's fear
it
mongering.
well, and it's not only that, but it's enticing to younger people as well because they look at it and they're like, well, hey, if I say I'm progressive, if I say I'm this, then I can pretty much get away with whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. I could say whatever I want as long as I call the person that's getting upset a racist. Like you're this, you're that, you shut up. It's a
Yeah.
way to get away with things.
In my school, basically because I'm from the UK, so my teacher, he went to New York and he came back and he went to Macy's. I don't know what Macy's is, but anyways, he
The
bought a
store.
tie. Yes, a store. I was thinking that, but he bought a tie that was quite an expensive tie, and it was he didn't even find out until the science lesson, and we're sitting in there, and he looks at his tie and he says, "Oh, it's Donald Trump. Oh, I funded Donald Trump's campaign," and he threw it straight in the bin in front of all the class. And I just think, right,
It,
fair enough if you have your views, but don't try and push an agenda to children when
yeah.
you in a class. I mean, do it if you don't like the tie and you don't like that you've bought it, then throw it away in your own time. Don't do it in front of everyone else.
Yeah,
Also, like, go on, go on.
I was gonna say I do see a lot of teachers bringing things they definitely shouldn't be into the classrooms around children, and it should be addressed.
Yeah. Also, as well, I saw in America that this teacher lined the kids up, and she made all of the white children apologize to the black children. I think it was in kindergarten or something like that, very young, made all of
Yeah.
the white children apologize to the black children for racism. And obviously, I feel racism is a big issue. It's not. It's a big issue and it should be dealt with. And I don't think racism will ever end because you're always going to get racists in different countries. But that is just too extreme. It's like
Yeah, no,
making
that is
little
way
children
too
who
extreme.
don't even know what racism and what even happened
Yeah,
during slavery do that. That it's just confusing them, and especially and
yeah,
also as well, you've got to kind of think a little bit. If you're putting your child on hormone blockers when they're about 5, then obviously you're going to. It's not their decision. Of course, it's yours. Of course, you've had that parent has manipulated that child into doing something or forced them. And also, if you look at drag shows, some drag shows are having nudity in them, and children are able to go to these drag shows. So
yeah. I did
why
find
would
that weird.
why would anyone want their little daughter going to a drag show or a library event and then
Any
being
type of
yeah
sexualized show in any way, shape, or form, children should not be a privy to.
drag shows they need to be over 18 because there have been
Yeah,
multiple incidences where the drag shows have been going on and then they've been like stripping on the pole, and then there's
yeah.
actually one incident where a man flashed his penis in front of loads of little girls and boys, and
Oh, geez.
that that is on another level so wrong. And also when
No,
you
it
have
is.
kids and when you have little kids doing the shows as well, they're also stripping off in front of old men in
Yeah,
drag. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting.
yeah. I do think we need to radically change our education system to better suit currently skilled occupations, and in that sense that would get rid of a lot of these radicalized teachers that are doing more
Yeah,
harm than good and not really educating kids. But I was actually thinking about this the other day, and sorry, I actually don't know your name. It's just the open debate.
Yeah,
um
people just call me Elder, like an old man.
okay, Elder. Okay. How you said that you wanted to run in your local town, and I was thinking of a way to make voting and being a part of the system better. And you could do it in education systems as well. Whereas if you made a blockchain based voting system where you gave full information on both sides. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm the mayor, but this is the option for the town. We could build a new grocery store or build a bridge, and future generations will be able to get cheaper groceries in the future. And you would lay it out and allow people to vote. I feel like a system that gets more people involved and more educated on matters would help a lot. And you could take that into the education system as well, like where parents can vote on what their kids learn. So let's scrap this and let's throw in computer science, or let's throw in you know history of this, or we don't want our kids learning on that, and you let the actual parents and students vote on what they want to learn. I feel like that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Hmm. Yeah, it is a good idea. I like that. It's an interesting situation still, even with that though, right? Who decides what, like the? I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, there's lots to get delve into with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah.
but I like it. Yeah, I like it. It's really interesting when you start thinking about the way that we're brought up, what we're taught, how we learn things.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone's knocking or something, but I just
Oh, sorry.
either way.
Sorry, I was sending lights.
Wait.
Sending lights.
Oh yeah, you're okay. I was wondering if it was like in my ear, if it was my hair or something. But I appreciate that.
Nice.
The way that we are learned and are taught. I wonder, have you noticed in your own personal opinion? Because I know that we were talking about the LGBT stuff before. When it comes to learning and being more exposed to that community, because that's something that I was going to bring up. I was going to have that talk tonight, but I just didn't want to get too serious about it. But since it was brought up, it just seems to come back around whenever things like that are brought up in general. The discussion around the community itself, it sucks because no one has said that they identify within that community, and nobody has popped in as a guest that has said that they identify within that community. So I'd love to speak to somebody who actually does. But
Yeah.
the idea around
Yeah.
how the community represents itself, and if they agree or disagree, and also what you've seen within that community, and the way that people receive that information, I guess, as Antic had said before. It's anti-cookie, I know, but I just keep
Yeah,
saying Antic at
anti-cookie
the
monster.
beginning. Yeah. Um, that your sister was never hard into that ideology, and then after being exposed to, let's say, internet culture for a
Yeah.
multitude of years, she has become hard into that culture. And so I don't know, the question is, how did you see that change happen? And then also, have either of you two noticed a predominant group of individuals who tend to be that tend to flock towards this type of ideology? Trying to word this without like putting anything into
Yeah.
your head.
Yeah, I have. Obviously, my school, there's a boys' school and a girls' school. I don't know if that happens a lot in the US, but anyways, if you look at the girls' school about a year ago, I would say 90% of my year in the girls' school were would have identified as an LGBTQ plus
Yeah.
member, even though that it is. I would highly doubt that any of them are doing it, and they're doing it for attention seeking, or they're just doing it because their friends are doing it. I mean, I even had a transgender boy in that year, and you know, he identified at 12, and and obviously he was quite a tomboy. He used to have like very short hair in before in like younger year school, um, but he will always also be biologically a female. I mean, no matter how much we say like transgender people are their gender they want to be, they are always going to be male or female, their biological gender. That's why
Yeah.
also as well letting transgender people compete in sports, which are like say for example boxing, like you can't put a transgender female fighting a actual female, because then that's ridiculously unfair. I mean, the transgender female has got so many advantages, and now I'm not being sexist, but
No.
males are stronger, males are fitter than women. Males are better at sports than women, and that's just the truth.
Well,
It's
and there's a
proven.
cognitive difference between men and women. Like
Yeah,
our brains are actually biologically different. It's not
yeah,
just our bodies are different. So it's
yeah,
I'm all for I don't believe that transgender should be in the sports of women at all. I do believe it's a completely unfair advantage. But for me, I grew up around transgenders, lesbians, gays, and I have no problem if you are fully through surgery or even halfway through. I have no problem calling you a guy or a girl, whatever you've switched to. But if you push it on me and demand that I call you these made up pronouns, etc., I'm not going to. If you want to be
yeah,
called a dude, you're a dude. I'm fine with that. Like, all for it, like I said, but the pronoun things do throw me off. And growing up around my sister and with my sister, 30 years, she was never like that until later on. She went to the Pride parade. She did everything out here in Vancouver, you know, and our entire family supported her. Nobody cared whatsoever. It wasn't until she moved to Edmonton, and I don't know what the community is like out there, but once she moved to Edmonton, her personality switched to that political personality type, and she took on this my sexual preference is my personality, which growing up with her was never the case. So it definitely threw me for a loop, but I still love her regardless. I'm not going to change my love for her. I'm not going to even be upset. I'm just waiting for her to grow out of it, I guess. And then with the transgenders, I'm not going to call you a made up gender. Like I refuse to kneel to your neo pronoun I'm offended bullshit. But if you want to be a dude, sure. Like my whole family thought I was gonna be a lesbian until I was 18 because I didn't date anybody. Everyone I knew thought I was lesbian. I dressed like a boy. I had short hair. Great times. Made out with a girl once. Drunk in a party. I'm fine with all of that. You do you. Just don't force your shit on me. Don't force me to change my life to please and, I guess help you,
Yeah.
and it's not
Yeah.
my problem.
I mean, I had a teacher last year, and obviously she was new, and so we all walked into class, and we all knew like she must have been part of the LGBTQ plus community because she had a rainbow flag at the back of her classroom, and she was bald, but you could tell that she was a woman. So the
Yeah.
first thing she said was, "Okay, guys, I'm just going to tell you first up, I'm gay. If you have any questions about it, you can ask me, but I'm not going to mention it again." And she didn't mention it for the whole year, and
Yeah.
she just she was just all right about it. I mean, no one asked her any questions, and she
No.
just got on with it. She just no one cared. Like, I mean,
Well, and you don't know that somebody could have asked her questions in private, and it could have
oh yeah,
helped that person a lot. But that's how it should be. Is it's just like, okay, this is what it is. Boom. Let's move on, because especially in this day and age, I can honestly say I have not personally met, and I've lived everywhere from Burnaby, BC, all the way up to frickin' like Salmon Arms, pretty much. Like I've lived all over BC, and I've never personally met someone that was actually homophobic. I've met a lot of people that have made jokes, made like rude, underhanded comments, but I've never met someone that actually was like, oh my God, those gays, I gotta kill them or beat them up. I've never met that. So I feel like in this day and age, we're already mostly past that. Not all, but mostly. So if we can all accept that, then we can move forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree. I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely met one or two here in
Are
Ontario,
you?
but
Oh, okay.
but those guys as well. Like if I had to say, like if I had to guess somebody that I don't think is gay, that would probably be gay, would be like any one of those guys. So it's like it's almost like an
Yeah,
underlying like
they're
oh,
hiding it. They're
like I
just,
don't know. And also that was in high
yeah.
school, right? That was a long time ago. Who knows where they are now? Who knows what they're doing? But
Yeah,
definitely I did meet a few growing up, and so I couldn't see how like to fight for rights or to want equality is something
yeah,
that there were issues. That's what we're talking about earlier, how there were legitimate issues, and like if you grew up and that's
yeah,
what was going on, then yeah, speaking up about it. But then when you're making up new things, that's where we become, I don't know,
yeah.
that's where it becomes
Well,
confusing.
and for
Something that
my
I wanted to
sister,
ask you guys. Oh, yeah, go on.
oh, I was gonna say for my sister, she did grow up in those times because she was born in the 80s. So she grew up
Mhm.
when there was still those religious burn and turn 'em straight camps, those fucked up that shit. She was around, so I understand her trepidation and her worry and concern, but we aren't doing that now because they fought for it, because the elder lesbians and gays worked for that. And like gay marriage is completely normal and justified. Like it never should have been against the law. Never really even thought about it like that.
Yeah, the question kind of comes up like, at what point do you accept your win and say that we've done not enough, but we've done a lot and made progress, and be
Yeah.
proud of yourselves, right?
Oh yeah,
But something
and
that
they
I
should.
did,
They fought for a lot.
yeah, something I did want to ask you guys, because I saw somebody bring up something about this in the comments or something similar, but the idea that perhaps your sister didn't change, and it's not just your sister, but it's about
Mhm.
um, and also why there were so many girls in the girls school that identified as something other than a woman. Perhaps it's not that anything's changing. It's that society's so open now that all these people are just freely to be who they want without any judgment. What do you guys think of that?
Well, my thoughts on that is for like a large majority of people to do something, and I'm talking maybe about like 300 people doing one thing. That's quite a lot of people. So you have to have some maybe a trend or something like that. I mean, fair enough if you have a couple of students who might be gay or in the LGBTQ plus community, but when you have a majority of a girls' school, there must you can sort of see the signs of them um, being told or there being a trend in the school. I mean, you know,
So
it's not
for
a
me,
common.
Yeah, I see where you're. Yeah, I see where
Yeah.
you're
yeah,
coming from with
I
that.
see where you're coming from. For me, when I worked at the gas station when I was younger, my friend, she wasn't my friend at the time, she came from the high school. She was still in grade 11, and she started working there. We became friends. And this young girl at the time said she identified as asexual. So I asked her, what does that mean to you? And she said that some days she expresses herself with a more masculine type, like she'll wear loose baggy clothes, she'll wear this, she doesn't want to put on makeup, etc. And some days she expresses herself as a more feminine type, so she would makeup, nails, everything like that. So when I asked her, I was like, so you like to express yourself differently on different days? And she said, yeah. And I was like, so that changes your gender how? And she couldn't answer it. So when I continued to press it, I was like, you like to express yourself in different ways. We're human. We all do. Every single day, we express ourselves with the clothes that we choose, with the hair, the makeup, whatever words or actions we use that day, we express ourselves. That does not change your biological gender. And she's like, well, I also like girls. I am bisexual. And I was like, well, you're bisexual then. And when I told her, I was that's dope. You do you. Like, but don't make up shit to make yourself fit in with the other students in your school, because I had asked her and she said all the girls in her class were these different genders. And we had probably about a 2-hour conversation, and at the end of it she's like, well, I guess I'm just bisexual. I was like, dude, that's good. Like, own that shit. You're bisexual. I fucking love you regardless. So I genuinely do think that a lot of these girls that are, even some of the boys that are into this trending, whatever you want to call it, progressiveness, once they're out of those group settings, once they're out away from people propping up that mindset, they're definitely going to fall out, because just like my friend did, she's still a bisexual, and I love her to death, but she more does tend to date guys. She's definitely gonna grow out of it. You can tell we all did. We have our moments when we're teenagers, and even if she doesn't and chooses to be a bisexual, it's fine. In all honesty, I don't give a shit. I love her, but that whole made up progressive gender stuff, I feel like it's peer pressure, it's definitely groupthink, and not all of them, if not most of those girls, are not going to identify or, be this person 5-10 years from now.
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
to say that well, obviously children would say, well, teenagers that go through puberty, obviously they're gonna start to want to experiment, obviously,
Yeah.
what they want, and obviously, if you like, if one person who's really good on the LGBTQ plus topic and who is transgender herself, Blair White. Blair White, she's or he's quite good at the topic, and to be fair, like she just says, um, like, look, listen, transgender children should not be given hormone blockers or anything like that until they're 18. She's very conservative. She's got very good. She's got very good policies, and she's a very good YouTuber as well. Debunking a lot of people. But um, you know, but sometimes it is just a trend. I mean, like, maybe one or two of your friends say, "Oh, I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community," and obviously maybe then you might feel, "Oh, well, I'm not part of this community now, so I'm going to
Yeah.
join," even though you're not what you are, what you're saying.
Well, and like I
Like
said,
your friend.
I don't think they all are. There's definitely some of these kids are in their hearts, in their souls, in every ounce of their being, they are lesbian, gay, or bisexual.
Yeah, I agree.
And
I
like
agree.
it's not all of them. It's just the other ones are hopping on the trend. And those people that are just hopping on this trend are the ones that are gonna grow out of it because it's not who they truly are.
Yeah. I
And but
agree.
the lesbians, the gays, the transgenders, they're always going to be what they really are, and that's who they are. And it's I love them all to death, never gonna want them to change. But the other ones that are pushing and making up these genders, like I've had talks with some of my sister's friends that don't agree with her, and they actually think it's harming their community having all these fake genders pushed and attached to their community.
Yeah. I mean, oh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I totally agree with you that obviously not all of them are well, not all of them are not doing it just
Yeah.
for the clout. I mean, most of them are doing it. They are really what they say they are, but quite a few are doing that, which is bad. But also, we are
Yeah.
seeing a lot of detransitioners now. Loads of
Hmm.
detransitioners. Um,
Yeah.
and if you look at it as well, the transgender suicide rate is 1 to 2. So half of all transgender people get when once they've got their surgery and everything, they 1 in 2 will kill themselves, and
I have
that's
heard
quite a
that.
sad
Yeah.
fact. That's
See,
quite a sad
I don't know
fact.
enough about that side of it. So like I can't really speak on that side of it, but
Yeah,
I have
fair enough.
heard that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, I also think that if you're a parent and you're pushing a child and you're forcing a child to be transgender, or forcing your like under 10-year-old child to do something like that, then child protective services should get involved, in my opinion. Because it's dangerous. I mean, putting a child that's
Yeah.
on hormone blockers again is dangerous. I mean,
It
they don't
is.
even know what they're
I'm
doing.
50-50 on that, only because they're like my sister said she knew she was a lesbian when she was like 10 years old. So at 10 years old, for her to personally know that about herself, that's wild to me, someone that's not a lesbian. So I have to take into account that some, not all, definitely some of these kids, they know when they're that age, and they may not feel comfortable enough to bring it up. Just like my sister, she didn't come out till she was 16. We knew when she was a little kid. We're all like, you're going to be a lesbian. We love you, Autumn. But it still had to be hard to know that something was different at 10. So I'm 50-50. Like, there shouldn't be like CPS necessarily involved, but definitely the kids that do want those situations should go through therapy and make sure it's what they personally want and not
Yeah,
what society or parents want for them.
yeah. The only thing
So
with hormone, like the reason why I said hormone blockers is because hormone blockers isn't reversible. You can't,
yeah,
reverse hormone
yeah.
blockers and estrogen. So obviously that shouldn't be until 18, no matter what your child thinks. And
Yeah, I do think like any medical, real life changing, altering medical treatment, unless it's like in dire necessary need, obviously, should
yeah,
be thought about significantly and possibly waited for if necessary.
yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, obviously people, it's not something where you should think about this in maybe a couple of days. This should be a thing where you should be thinking about it for maybe up to a year if you're going to do it or not. It's not, obviously it's not something
Yeah.
you do that's quick and easy. You know, these are life changing decisions, and like I said
Hmm.
again, there are loads of detransitioners out there now that are, they're saying, look, listen, I fell into the trap of thinking I was this, that, and the other, and now I want to get my life back
Switch
on track
back.
and get my gender back.
That's
And
sad.
obviously, I know this is quite rare, and I know there are people out there that are transgender, but these things are happening. And obviously, we want to prevent, and we need to prevent these sorts of things from happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I was interested in, and that is an interesting, and that's why I said it would be interesting to have someone who did identify with the community to come in, because, like you said, Blair White's a good example of somebody who you wouldn't expect to hold the ideologies that she does and the opinions that she does, but is just a regular individual who doesn't push her views of the LGBT community. She pushes her political views on people the same as any other political commentator does, but her
Hmm.
being her being trans only really pushes, like, that's only a main focus if that's the topic of what they're speaking about. So it would be like if I was speaking about the N word and then I made it also about the fact that I'm also black. So like that would be in relevance to what I'm speaking about, but it wouldn't be like, oh well, I'm gonna make some food or something. Also, I'm black. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
Only black people have these troubles because I'm cooking pizza, and you have to hear about this as well. Um, so the question is like, right, how much does the interjection and pushing hurt that community? Something that, like I said earlier, when I talked about the stuff yesterday, all of a sudden today I had all of these posts today from that community. And
Hmm.
one was like, how long have you known you were gay? And there were these old people, and it was like from 1940 and up to like
Aw.
2022 or something, or like up to 1980. And they're like these four gay guys, and they were like jumping across whenever they like found out. And it was just interesting to see, because also, like, I've seen so many, especially gay people, that just don't really agree with how like flamboyant the community is, and like they just kind of want to live their lives. Like they fought for equal rights, not to have all this attention thrown onto them for what they're just
Yeah.
trying to live peacefully and just like just live. And so it's
Yeah.
like this whole contrast of like, I just wanted to live, and now all of a sudden you're making me the forefront of every single thing that you talk about, in
Yeah.
my opinion,
I
from what I've seen.
Yeah,
no, I've
this
seen the exact same thing.
this is also happening in the feminism community. I mean, people aren't taking feminism seriously anymore because of the people that are in the feminist community. I mean,
That's me. I'm an old school classic feminist, fight for
yeah,
real equal rights. We've
I
pushed
mean,
it too far in all honesty. Like at this point I am not a feminist. I want nothing to do with the women, the movement, the anything. I'm like, nope, go away.
yeah, I mean,
So,
obviously,
so I
gone.
don't want to cut you off, but just because that we can relate that to a movement that with somebody here, um,
Mhm.
How do you feel about that then? Yeah, just like speak a little bit around. You say that you're like that's because it's the exact same relevance where it's like there's a movement of individuals who are working towards something, and then that movement was hijacked by political activists that have taken things to a new level. And so a lot of people that were part of the original movement don't agree with what's happening now. So, and you could relate that to liberalism, you could relate that to the LGBT community, you could relate that to feminism,
Yeah.
civil rights. You could relate it to anything, but you were part of the feminist movement. You consider yourself a feminist, but not part of the new school feminism. So, like, what have you seen in comparison, and why has it changed? Like, what has changed so much?
I've noticed a fundamental change in, and I hate to say it, but in the women. Um, we went from fighting for just equal rights and literally like our own innocence, life, liberty, and freedom to choose, to demanding that for whatever reason men cower to our strength and power. It is not in any way, shape, or form about feminism anymore. It's about putting down men and putting down others for just disagreeing. And I can't get on board with that type of targeted attack towards masculinity. And it's literally destroying women and feminism as it's happening, because young girls are growing up and thinking that it's okay to, well, not that it's okay, but that it's deemed acceptable on such a level that they actually push women to go and like start a OnlyFans, only to 6 months later regret it because they sold their body for pennies to men across the world that screen recorded them and then made the real money off of them. Like, feminism has led to just the destruction of women's minds and hearts. Current
it's
feminism, whereas original feminism was all about uplifting, propping up your fellow female, you know, community, and not just with words but with actions. Like, all the modern feminists are very much about the talk, but there's nothing to back it. Whereas old school feminists were the exact opposite. They're like filing lawsuits, let's take them to court, let's fight, in the federal court, let's do this the right way rather than name call and demean and not actually take action.
yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, right, BuzzFeed again. They had the man spreading videos that were going on, and also the kill all men movement, where
Yeah,
actual men killed themselves.
what the
Um,
fuck?
and I mean,
Sorry for swearing.
if this is what modern
Fine.
feminism represents,
Yeah,
it's just toxic. Make
it really is,
making
and it's leaching into the kids' minds. Like, I see young girls, like, oh, I don't have to care, I'm a girl. And it's like, you should care because you're a young lady. You are a young woman growing up in the 21st century where everything is at your fingertips, and yet all the danger in this world surrounds you because you are a young girl. So you shouldn't
yeah,
we shouldn't be encouraging our daughters to go and sexualize themselves, but that's what modern feminism is doing. It's like, yeah, go and dance sexually on TikTok for grown men, perverts that are watching you. Like, why are we encouraging our young daughters to do that? I cannot get behind it. And I do see the cross between the spectrum of like politics, everything like that, and LGBTQ community. It's definitely old versus the new. And the new is very flashy, in your face, and hateful, I guess. Nothing feels genuine about it.
Manufactured.
Yeah, definitely
I do.
meant fake empathy.
Yeah, I do need to get the show wrapping up here, but I'm gonna give the floor to both of you to speak your mind, say whatever you'd like, and give us your opinion around whatever you are thinking. We'll start with
I,
politics, Max, and we'll go down to Anti Cookie Monster. So Max, floor is yours. Are you there? We can't hear you.
Maybe he muted himself.
Yeah, I'll drop you out. If you pop back in, I'll give you your final thoughts and you can speak after Anti-Cookie Monster, but I'll give you the floor first because we couldn't hear him. He was just not there.
No, I'm good. I just wanted to hop on tonight because I've been enjoying watching the debate. So, yeah, we can call it a night.
Yeah, I enjoyed hearing you speak, and I enjoyed all of your opinions around everything. It was really nice to have you out, and I appreciate you following along with the channel and giving us your opinion because that's what builds up the community. Everybody's opinion together, right? It's
Yeah.
it's definitely not. There's enough podcasts out there with somebody just sitting around telling you how they feel. It's good for other people to be able to come in and speak their mind.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Politics
I'll
is saying
catch
that
you
his
later.
mic's not working. Yeah, have a good night. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
We'll speak again soon. Politics says his mic's not working. That has been happening a little bit often lately. The last few streams, halfway through the conversation, a lot of individuals, all of a sudden, their mics would just not work. But I do appreciate you coming out and speaking your mind while you were here. Always feel free to pop back in anytime, and we will have you back on the open debate. I appreciate everybody that's come out and spoken their mind in the chat as well. That is what it's all about, building a community of individuals who aren't afraid to have their voices heard and come out and have a conversation. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can always hit up the PayPal at Open the Debate, and I've appreciated everybody who has done that so far. It helps the channel keep going and grow. Being here and speaking your mind is also support. I appreciate people showing up and telling us how they feel on the different topics that we don't always stick to. We have daily live streams Monday through Friday at 9 p.m., sometimes on the weekend as well. With that being said, my name's Elder. This has been the Open Debate. Be your own hero, kids.